Today we're walking part of the John Muir Way between Linlithgow and Falkirk. Along the way we'll pass under the impressive Victorian viaduct that carries the railway over the River Avon, and pass over the magnificent Avon Aqueduct, the longest in Scotland. We'll follow the Union Canal as it skirts Polmont and enter the Falkirk Tunnel, the longest canal tunnel in Scotland. Well, we've got a fairly flat walk today, following the River Avon and then the Union Canal. The only bit of slope will be when we go from one to the other, but other than that it's all flat. This is the first of the major structures we're going to be having a brief look at today, and it's the railway viaduct over the River Avon. And if you're on a train passing over it, you don't really get to see it. You perhaps gradually realise that the ground is dropping away and you start to get really good views down towards the ground surface, but you know, you don't generally get to see it from this angle, and it's just nice to be able to do so. That's the River Avon on the right. We've had quite a lot of rain in the last few days, and it's quite fast flowing in places, and the path came quite close to its edge. If you were to fall in there just now, you'd be struggling to get back out again, and you'd be in serious trouble. I've never been on this path before. I have been on the Union Canal. I probably walked most of the Union Canal in various stages at one time or another, but this particular path beside the River Avon I've never been on. And you know, there's just always something awful nice about being on a bit of ground that you've never walked on, because you don't really know what it's going to be like. You can pore over ordnance survey maps till the cows come home, but at the end of the day it's only when you're on the ground walking on it that you really see what it's like. It's a little bit muddy in places because of all the rain, but it's a very pleasant path, I tell you. And very shortly we'll start going uphill towards the Union Canal. Well, this is the Avon Aqueduct. Today's walk doesn't actually come down this way. We're going to follow the Union Canal from this point onwards. But there's a small path kind of leads down on the other side of the aqueduct and takes you under the aqueduct, and clearly this is part of the country park, but this isn't the way we go today. I just wanted to come down here to get another angle on the structure. It's nice to see it from different angles. The Avon Aqueduct's the largest aqueduct in Scotland and the second largest in Britain. I've already forgotten how long it is, but it's very long, and probably completed around about 1822 or thereabouts. Every time I go onto the internet there's a slightly different date, but it's round about then. Maybe took about 3 or 4 years to complete. There's 12 of these colossal arches spanning the River Avon and the Avon Valley. And rather than going for a kind of typical clay lining to the canal as it goes over the aqueduct, they opted to go for an iron trough, which I dare say is probably quite unusual. Not that you can see it from the top, you know, but it must have had an impact on how they were going to actually structurally put the whole thing together. Well, this is the tunnel, the Falkirk Tunnel. I thought we were actually going to leave the John Muir Way behind as it kind of veered off in that direction through Calendar Park, but the sign I think indicated that it kind of split, and I assume that you could pick and choose as to whether you wish to go through Calendar Park or go through this way. I mean, this very long tunnel will end sort of pretty close to Falkirk High railway station, and that's where we're going to end today's walk. And I think if you were on the John Muir Way, I would highly recommend that you walk through this tunnel.
The Falkirk Tunnel is the longest canal tunnel in Scotland. It was built between 1818 and 1822 because the owner of the Calendar estate did not wish to see the canal in his grounds, and so forced the canal right through Prospect Hill.
Well, we've made it through the Falkirk Tunnel, thankfully unscathed. This is the third and final huge 19th century engineering thingy that we're visiting on today's walk. As you can see, there is lighting in the tunnel. I remember not that long ago, just a year or a couple of years ago, where there wasn't lighting and you had to have a torch to find your way through. And that, combined with all the waterfalls inside, meant that it was just a seriously scary place. These days, with the lighting, there are still internal waterfalls, and it's still a place that you would have to exercise a fair bit of caution when you're walking through it, just to be on the safe side, not so you don't come to any harm. Anyway, that's today's walk. I'm Eddie Burns. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again.